Otherwise, today we are talking about rally numbers to say, do rally numbers equate to voters? We've seen throughout this campaign season various political parties, being so much concerned about showing that people are there, people are attending their rallies. And I remember when we were screening the Beitbridge, the CCC Beitbridge rally, there, people were also saying, we want to see the people, show us the people. Why are you not showing us the people? And there's so much interest in how many people are there, and we want to hear from you guys to say, do rally numbers equate to votes?
Yeah, we've seen drones being put there, man, to count number of people, and been these pictures being shared on social media platforms. People are breaking, say, "I'm a party as people, as Zaza, or you isn't Zaza," and so on. Those terms have been coined by supporters of different political parties who say this one filled stadiums, this one didn't fill stadiums. But however, guys, do rally numbers equate to votes? When it comes to the election day, 12 days to go now, when you see those people who are filling up stadiums also going to vote for those candidates in beating Couchback, beating Plumtree, Beitbridge, wherever we are being, will those rally numbers equate to votes? Please do request the mic this morning. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear from you around the issue of numbers on rallies and also voting patterns. Please do also share your contributions via our chat box there. Also remember to use the hashtag Asake.
Quite interesting, Brighton, because you'll notice that, at some point, some political parties have gone to the extent of, stating figures to say there were so much people. Some have been questionable numbers to say, are you really sure that that ground or that stadium can hold up such a big number of people?
But also, been the number of passing people, right? Now, the rally in Couchback, right? To pass people from Gwanda, pass people from Escotini, right? On the day of the election, they don't vote there. But however, you're busing them. Will they vote in that particular constituency or what? So the issue of busing again comes into play to say those people who are being bused to rallies, will they vote in that particular constituency or what? Some people have been explaining to say this is a provincial rally and so on. But however, will those bars be able to vote in that area? No. So guys, we're asking you guys this morning, do rally numbers equate to votes? Freelancer, good morning, sir. Welcome to this morning, Nasaki.
Before I say something, let me send you this while I'm talking. Go to your DM and have a look on this while I'm talking, and then I'll contribute. Right. Okay, I've just sent you a DM. Have a look on that. The problem we have in Zimbabwe is poverty. I think that picture I've just sent you shows you the problem we have. People, they come to other rallies because of food. Let me just say I'm campaigning for my candidate in a certain constituency. We kill inkomo, sibulala inkomo, abantu babuya bezolanda ukudla. Some people, they come kuma big rallies because of chicken and other things. So you won't be surprised when I'm a rally egcwele because of poverty. That's what I think. I don't think ukuthi abantu bonke babona kuma rally laba bayavota for a certain party. I think they just come for food. Abanye, yes, bayabuya for to listen to the manifesto, but I think a lot of majority of people in Zimbabwe, because of poverty, balanda ukudla, especially in big rallies, always on PF. That's what I think. But I heard you talking about what is some people are going to use armor drones. I heard that there was a journalist who was arrested for using an unlicensed drone. Is it allowed to use a drone in Zimbabwe? Thank you, Brighton.
Well, thank you so much, Freelance, for that contribution this morning. Guys, please do request the mic. We also want to hear your views from today's topic to say, do rally numbers equate to votes? And you've heard Freelance. Let's hear from the other guys as well. Good morning, Bernard. What's your contribution today?
Good morning, Nonhlasla and Brighton. Oh, yeah, my contribution is, it depends with the political party. There's a dichotomy there. Some political parties don't know their supporters because they don't have a reliable base, which is enshrined in their ideologies and which people believe in, because they rely on anger. They rely on emotion. So when you rely on anger and emotion, people can come to just want to listen to what you are saying, but they might not vote. But some political parties are organized and structured, and they have a clearly stated ideology. and they do a lot of internal polling. They've got registers. They know who their supporters are. And when they go to those rallies, remember those buses people are laughing at. These are people who are registered. They know who came, who didn't, and who is got on their registers. So people might please themselves or make maybe try to have solace. But I can tell you, ZANU-PF supporters who come to their rallies, they vote for ZANU-PF. But the other parties, I don't know because they don't know their supporters. With the 6.6 million people registered, if I ask some other parties in that 6.6 million, probably what's your number? They don't even know. They just say, oh, people are angry. People are starving. People are kutambura. Oh, this and that. This is not going to help them. Those buses, people are laughing at, they will see. Because that party, I can tell you, is very, very organized and they know who is going to vote for them. So, but the other parties, I'm not sure if they know their supporters, except to say people are angry. No one likes this political party. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Bernard, for that contribution this morning. Quite interesting, Brighton. Freelance spoke about
But also for me, I think I've been questioning this. There should be some form of mechanisms for political parties to say, let's come up with a way of checking if these people are Palestinian and vote. All those guys who see them filling up stadiums are all these guys are Palestinian and vote. Are they registered to vote? Those guys
true, yeah.
Are they going to vote on the 12 days to come in Zimbabwe, or they just going there for freebies and just hang out and there and spending time? So that's what we're asking you guys this morning. To rally numbers equate to vote. Let's go to Postalan. Postalan, good morning. Welcome to this morning, Asake.
Good morning, Brighton. Hi, Nonhlanhla. I hope you can hear me because I think it's breaking a bit on your side, but I hope I'm audible. I just wanted to contribute a bit on this crucial topic. Now, I've always been someone who's stated that, rally numbers do not equate to registered voters. And I believe that our experiences with Zimbabwean politics should also confirm this. I'll explain why I'm saying so. When you look at the way in which the Zimbabwean elections are held, for instance, when you look at ZEC has got a mandate in which one of its core functions is to ensure that it obviously gives voter education. It also assists people to register to vote, but we haven't seen enough of this happening. For instance, you would expect that when you're having an election, ZEC would have adverts, for instance, where they'll be saying, register to vote, this and this, empowering citizens to do so, just like other countries do. But I haven't seen this happening when it comes to ZEC itself. Yes, they'll argue that they don't have the money, the financing for them to do such a thing. Fair enough, we'll hear them out when they say that. But then when you see a problem like that, it then becomes the responsibility of political parties for them to educate their supporters, to inform people, to motivate citizens to be able to register to vote and be part of the process, because your vote is yours, isn't it? Really, it's your right. But we haven't seen this. I haven't seen a lot of it. What I've seen is ZANU-PF, for instance. Definitely, as much as we may laugh about them going to all those churches, white garment churches, sitting there, they don't go there for a reason, just to say they're going to pray or worship. Not at all. There's obviously going to be a system at place in which they ensure that the people who support them or the places they go, they are going to ensure that they possibly communicate with the leaders of those such sects. And at the end of the day, they're going to get people registered. And another thing we have to go back to, let's go back into time. Remember, there were quite a number of other hurdles that were added due to the registering to vote. There were a number of other IDs that were required, another kind of hoops that people had to take part in. Now, let's look at that. if you're going to look at a situation where people were required to have further sort of identification documents for them to get registered, and you have a situation where we have populace in Zimbabwe where majority are not working, how do they finance themselves? I mean, the people are struggling to eat. Is the first thing on their mind to say, let me keep this money, let me use this money so that I can make sure I've got this documentation, that documentation, this and that, travel to this place and that place, so that at the end of the day I'm registered to vote. We have to understand what our people are going through. Now, majority of people in Zimbabwe have been struggling. I've been part of a number of citizens in the diaspora who've literally been assisting even students at universities to get on buses to go register to vote, get this and that document, whoever they are. There are citizens who've been actually assisting. I'm sure many of them are even listening to me as I'm talking right now, and they know of a scenario in whether it's their family or people they know who didn't have certain requirements that would allow them to register to vote. And so they required those things. Now, how do you get such things without money, without work? You're not getting paid, right? How do you finance that? And this is where you now find a situation where you would see that ZANU-PF would definitely have had things in place to ensure that people who possibly did not have certain documents, by virtue of them supporting ZANU-PF, would have been assisted. Registering to vote would have been extremely easier for them. Why is that? Because number one, ZANU-PF wants to stay in power. Number two, ZANU-PF always thinks about itself, doesn't it really? And when you think about even the numbers of people, as we talk of busing of people, remember this is the current sitting government, whether we agree with it or not. They're obviously going to have to paint a picture of we are liked, we are the most favored, we are the people's choice. They are definitely going to have a situation where they need numbers. I mean, you're dealing with the current president of Zimbabwe. Obviously, he's going to need numbers. It's going to look very funny if there were 50 people turning up and it's a whole president of a country. That is something that they would not, because impressions do matter. So when we talk of the thing of do rallies sort of equate to votes, rallies, in my opinion, do not equate to votes, because you have to really start looking at the data. How many of those people who go to these rallies are registered to vote, have been able to register themselves to vote? Because remember, some even their names were not currently showing when the voter exercise was there, where people had to go look for their names. People were saying, my name is not there, my this is not there. So we have to take all these kind of things into consideration when we're looking at this crucial topic. And also to say this for opposition as well, obviously, they also need numbers. We're talking about one of the biggest opposition party in Zimbabwe, that is Triple C. They're definitely going to want numbers there, whether people are walking, whether people are doing what, because at the end of the day, let's get this right, whether the people are bussed or not. Right? When I'm not talking about the whole police kind of drama where the police would allow one party to bust people and the other party not to. That's not what I'm looking at this point. What I'm simply stating here is the fact that whether bust or not, the point still stands with two of the biggest opposition, political parties in Zimbabwe. They're definitely going to want people to see their numbers. Numbers do count. Why? Because it makes people believe and understand the fact that, this is a match or a contest between two major political parties. And obviously, by people seeing the number of people that turn up for such events, and seeing the number of people that also are asking others to support rallies and whatnot, you will definitely understand this, that it is a sort of a tug of war going on there with political parties. But the question we have to then come back to is, even though they do this for imagery's sake, for us to see the publicity and whatnot, are the people showing up really registered to vote? And I think it's only the political parties who can truly ask themselves whether they did play a hand in assisting people to register to vote. Did they assist as many people as they could? Or was it more of a situation in South Africa where Nelson Chamisa showed up? Obviously, the voter registration period had passed. How many of those South Africans that turned up, the Zimbabweans in South Africa, were actually able to travel from South Africa to come to Zimbabwe, register to vote, and go back? We have to remember that we've got a huge percentage of Zimbabweans who are living in South Africa without documentation. So how many of them were able to jump the border and go back again? These are things we need to really think about when we're answering this question. So I'll say it again. I don't think that the numbers we see at Rally will equate to the votes that we get on the day. Or not only that, even the people who show up to vote on the 23rd of August. Thank you so much. I'll end there for now.
Well, thanks so much, Bosaran, for highlighting that. Guys, if you're just joining us this morning, I'm talking about do rally numbers equate to votes. So, yeah, please do request the mic this morning. Also, do send your contributions or your comments via the chat box there. And remember to use the hashtag Asaka. Let's go to another speaker there this morning. Kanyile, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Please do go ahead, sir.
So I would like to say, to a certain extent, rally numbers do equate to vote. Why am I saying so? If you check out the people who attend the rallies, most of them are, let me say, are loyal party members. One. Then secondly, those people who will call the drunkards and the so-called people of the certain area, they attend those things a lot. Then if you check out on the day of the voting, most of the people who go to the voting arena, firstly are the elders. Those people, they vote, they really vote, and they also attend those rallies. If I check to using my own eye, and the drunkards also, they sleep at their own spaces, waiting for the certain day. When the voting day arrives, they are there also. So to a certain extent, I believe rally numbers do equate to the votes. Then thirdly, why should people be buzzed to rallies? Because the rally numbers do influence to the party's attraction to people. If the rally is attended mostly, it shows what the party has a following, and at the end of the day, we can expect a rally that was hosted in Blawayo, and a sum of maybe 100,000 people, and to a certain extent, it can influence the voters. If you check the number of votes the president got in Blawayo also.
Oh, thanks so much, Kanyele, for that. Yeah, quite interesting what Kanyele is raising there on the issue of the rally number. It says people that go to rallies are the number of people are going to vote as well. But also quite interesting, not to say, however, I've been seeing videos of people, these faces are familiar faces. We saw this face of a Triple C rally. You saw this face again for Zambia rally. You're seeing this face again, another different party rally. So it's a same face, but going to different rallies, wearing different T-shirts as well. As just someone said, they're going there for food. Quite interesting there. Let's go to another speaker there this morning. Liam, good morning. Welcome to This Morning on Asake.
Good morning, Brighton. How are you? Please confirm I'm audible.
You are clear, sir. Please do go ahead.
Okay, so in politics, in political science, there is a statement that says politics is the art of posturing, right? Then also there is another statement that says there is another formula in politics which says if you have the critical mass plus the strategy multiplied by military capability and economic muscle, you get power. Why do these two things matter? It's because they also speak to the purpose of rallies, right? Especially ahead of elections. Rallies in politics are used to shape perceptions. They are used to project an image, and at the same time, they are used to mobilize voters, as well as to create a platform for political parties to give feedback or to answer questions to their audiences or to their followers, their supporters, and they're also meant to swing fence-sitting voters, right? But one thing we should be honest about is this happens in a normal political setup. A normal political setup is that which has voters that vote on the basis of organic ideas, that vote on ideas, voters that are not cohesed, voters that are not polarized. And Zimbabwe does not qualify to be a normal political environment. We are a highly polarized political environment. So at the end of the day, rallies in that kind of environment do not contribute much towards electoral turnout or towards votes, because as what Salan had said, that in most cases people that come to rallies are people that already support that political party, because in a repressed political environment like Zimbabwe, for one person to make a bold decision to wear a t-shirt and attend a rally, it must mean that this is a decision they already made predeterminedly a long time ago. It's very less likely to find someone who is not into politics trying to attend a rally out of the interest to hear what Chamisa says, especially when they can access the rally on social media. So, in most cases, maybe we can say views that one generates, let's say on YouTube or tweet or on Facebook when rallies are live streamed, are the ones that might contribute to new voters. Not necessarily votes, but new voters that might sway opinion. And literally, why do political parties still? Because everyone would ask, if they don't necessarily contribute to votes, why do political parties keep on doing it? Like I said, politics is the art of posturing. Each political party, because already we're in a system where the ruling party is trying to claim its legitimacy, so it needs to put the optics that support its legitimacy. Dictators always will try, especially the reason why you see ZANU-PF will always brag about the 960,000 followerships, because dictators want to project strength, popularity, and legitimacy. So at the end of the day, in trying to project strength of the party amid these perceptions that no, this is a dying relic of the liberation struggle, people want to show no, we still have our game. Remember the optics yesterday at Robert Mugabe Square was, we have penetrated opposition strongholds. The reason why we had that court case in Bulawayo was because people wanted to show, no, we are penetrating opposition strongholds. And ZANU-PF wants to win in urban areas because they want to counter the narrative that they're a rural party. So this is what usually happens with rallies in Zimbabwe. And the opposition also, the reason why it keeps on doing mega rallies in raw areas is try to also show that no, we are penetrating raw areas. We used to be told that we are not visible in raw areas, but they're trying to show their visibility. But also, they're trying to drum up support for their candidates in raw areas. So, in a world where the environment is highly polarized, in most cases at rallies, you are speaking to people that already support you. It's an echo chamber, especially with the Wazadza concept. It doesn't necessarily translate to popularity, but I think to those that watch these rallies online and those that try to follow through press and what are the ones most likely to be convinced with ideas of your the ones that are potentially new voters you might swing, fence sitters. And then there was a question about busing people to rallies. The concept of busing people to rallies comes from environments of the liberation struggle where we understood that our constituents were poor people. And these poor people could not sometimes afford transport to get to where the rally is. Because remember, a rally is held at one central place in a province. So imagine you go to Mashonaland East, and the capital of Mashonaland East is Marondera. In Mashonaland East, you have people that stay in Uzumba. You have people that stay in Mutoko. You have people that stay in Domboshawa. You have people that stay, you know, in Seke rural village. And all these people would need to commute to your rally. So the political party or politicians of that political party within those areas sometimes find it an obligation unto them to then provide transport for the constituents to attend rallies to where the rally is being held, right? And in most cases, it's not just about filling up, but helping people get access to a political event of the party that they chose to associate with so that they can also get interface with their leader. Because Nelson Chamisa cannot be, or Emerson Mnangagwa cannot be in 5 different places at once, but they can only be at one central point at a certain time to address a certain number of people. And this is also done to ensure that we don't waste too much money in holding rallies, like 5 multiple rallies in different districts in the same what province. So sometimes for Nelson not to just go to 7 constituencies, it's better to have 7 constituencies converge in one constituency in a central town where he can speak to them and share the vision, despite the fact that these are people that already support him. But it also helps energize his base. So the busing part, I know people want to make a big deal out of it, but it's just a logistical system, right? It's just a logistical system of trying to ensure that the audience gets access to political events that or that are held by political parties. But it's only absurd that you see then people busing their supporters from as far as, because yesterday hours in Harare, you could hear people speaking in Tonga, you can hear people Speaking Nyanja, you know that this person came as far as Wangi to come and attend a rally in Harare. While least the president was in Binga a few days ago. So that is where it becomes absurd. But in and of itself, rallies don't necessarily translate to votes because look at the EFF; they always fill up the FNB stadium, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they'll become the biggest electoral victor. But what I think can add votes in an election are people like those door-to-door campaigns that used to do that the opposition used to do, those mukwazos. Even the ruling party does them. Even a lot of political parties, those are the ones that generate real votes because there you get to communicate with the people, and when you communicate with the people you earn their trust, and when you earn their trust you also demystify issues to do with fear, and you also get to engage with them directly, and this is how you even recruit and mobilize. Like the 1+5 model that was implemented by Citizens Coalition for Change, I will tell you, had they started doing that even during their 1 million votes campaign, I'm telling you, that is what would translate into many votes. Because people that vote for you are the people that understand you from a personal point of view. Because the politics is local, but the local politics is highly personal. So at the end of the day, the people that you engage personally are the ones that vote for you. But those that you engage in en masse are literally there for the frenzy and just for being there. And also, what attracts people to rallies is different. Like what someone said, some are following food, some are following T-shirts, some are following, the idea of FOMO. Especially we young people these days, we are there for the sake of being there. I'll tell you that sometimes when I attend a rally, it's because maybe I'll tell you the by-election rallies. I was there because I also wanted to be counted as one of the first people to attend a CCC rally at its inception stages, right? But my decision was already made that I'll vote for them, right? But how many new faces did I see there? Very little. So at the end of the day, rallies, they contribute, let's just say 10% of the voters you get, but not necessarily that they set a benchmark of who will win elections or who will lose. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Liam, for sharing your thoughts and your experiences as well. Quite interesting submission that you made there.
Yeah, but guys, this is the Gaga. We have a long weekend ahead of us, eh? So City Gaga in terms of submissions, and then we can move on to other speakers there this morning. Munamacho, good morning. Also, take on the issue of two rallies numbers equate to votes.
Good morning, Brighton. Good morning, everyone. You guys, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we're clear. So please do go ahead to the contribution this morning.
Lovely, lovely. So, Mina, got a different swing on this whole topic today. You see, one of the things that we have been complaining about as citizens is the idea of accountability within the electoral system, right? So one of the things that is there, you guys as the media houses now, the thing that we don't find much nowadays, or that we haven't been able to see within the political system, is that ability. Are we there to see them? Okay, are we able to see exactly these are the numbers, these are the things that they are saying? Because originally, the number of votes, even the number of the registered voters themselves, does not equate to the number of the actual votes that are going to be there. Because the thing is, we are spoiled votes that are going to be there. So when you're doing the
Anymore, but yeah, we're still articulating. And Love, please do go ahead to the contribution as well. And Love, are you there? Please do go ahead to the contribution as well. All right, let's try another speaker there this morning. Citizen Z, good morning.
Morning, Brighton. Hope everyone is good.
Yeah, we can go ahead.
So, I thank you. So, I think we tend to hold this in a wrong way. To rallies equate to voters, to votes. 100% it does. There is nothing else in the whole campaign that actually turns around and there's so much money pumped into it, the whole globe, than rallies. What is the main point of politics? It becomes it is classified as what do they say? As I think alcohol to the masses, or statement goes through Greece. It is mass hysteria. If rallies do not equate to votes, therefore churches should not equate to Christians, because you need that mass hysteria. You need to gather together with like-minded people, and some that are hardcore convinced, some that are halfway, some that are just coming in for the first time. They have to experience that, and through that they get converted to actually turning around and voting. If political parties actually turn around and say rallies do not work, therefore we should see political parties not doing rallies and actually turning around and gaining people, and that has not happened yet at all, because you still need that mass hysteria. So rallies do equate to voters. I think if you want to see that rallies do equate to voters, take political parties that are on the south side of let's say 100,000 members. Yeah, give them the ability to hold rallies like ZANU or CCC, and see what happens. Yeah, give them tolerance the ability to do that. And then you'll be talking about the biggest political party in the Machiavellian region. Give ZAPU the ability to actually gather those people and propagate their messages to those numbers of people. And you'll be talking about the biggest political party in Zimbabwe. So they do garner voters. Now this is when you convert your people to say, go and register. The same people that are in mass gathering, go and register. You turn around and say, go tell others to go and register. The same people that are there turn around and multiply by 5, by 4, it does not matter. They go and register. You turn around and encourage people to turn around and say, go and still convince other people to vote for us here in this political party X. The same people do that. And then they gather to celebrate together. Because at the end of the day, what are human beings? Human beings are a communal people. If human beings have moved away from the level of communality and just it stays individuals, that is when the rallies actually turn around and stop working. But the moment the human beings like to gather together, if you want to see that rallies work, it's like turning around and saying, why do people go to Papa Fields and support Highlanders and sit at Soweto? They can watch the football in their TV. They can listen to the football in their radio at home. But why do they do it? It is the gathering. And how many people have turned around and came in there for the first time and got hooked? Yeah. So here you're not dealing with politics only, but you're dealing with human nature. The ability of actually turning around and experience a mass event that turns around and changes you, changes your thought. So it actually does equate to voters, whether we like it or not. If it does not equate to voters, the whole world and all political parties should stop rallies. I heard someone turning around and saying EFF to fill up the stadium. It shows that it is number 3 in South Africa. From where it came from, there is nothing. So even in Zimbabwe, rallies was worked since, I do not know, since the Rhodesian times. Mass gatherings. Now the question is what you do with your mass gatherings. This is when the question is supposed to be. What a political party that has 1,000 or 10,000 people, 100,000 people, what does it do with these 100,000 people? Does it turn around and spearhead the 100,000 people to actually turn around and cause a change? Or does it keep the 100,000 people and just keep it there as pictures? So whether we like it or not, rallies equate to voters, especially on the presidential, because normally when we turn around and talk about the star rally, we're talking about presidentials. So for ED and Chamisa and the other guys that are actually contesting, they do not care about the provincial numbers. They care about the whole nation numbers. If they turn around and move people from Plum to Maswingo, for the people that are in Maswingo at that moment in time, they are fired up. Because at the end of the day, what he needs is the collection of all those people's numbers. For those that are watching at home, they are watching in awe. Yeah. Same as CCC people enjoy CCC rallies that they are not part of, but watching in things. Same as us, Zapu people who enjoy Zapu rallies in Matop. It is the owners. And that turns around and puts a little bit of encouragement. So, unfortunately, as much as we like it or not, people, rallies in politics, on every other thing, equate to voters, 100%. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Citizen Z, for sharing your thoughts on today's topic. If you're just joining us, guys, today we're talking about rally numbers. To say, do rally numbers equate to votes? And I'm seeing comments here. Someone says rally numbers do not equate to specific party votes, especially now when they can edit rally pictures to exaggerate the numbers. Access to party personnel and party promises door to door is more likely to win voters. Rallies in Zim don't always consist of loyalists. And then someone else says rally numbers can be a good indicator of a candidate's popularity, but they do not always translate to votes. There are a number of factors that can influence voter turnout, such as the candidate's policies, the state of the economy, and the level of voter apathy. Quite interesting views, and also the submission that Citizens gave us today. Quite interesting.
But remember also earlier on, Philip Spanda gave us the feedback to say people are going to rallies for food these days, right? For t-shirts these days, right? So can you say someone is popular because someone's going there for 2 pieces of chicken in? They're going there for bread. Can you say someone is popular? Because you can say large crowd, people are going there to get food. Once they're getting the food, they're gone. So can you say someone is popular because of that? Or suppose people are just hungry. They're just going there to get food and then they're gone. Let's go to the speaker there this morning. Tobza, good morning. How are you say this morning?
Morning, Brighton and Nonchance. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you, Baba. Quebec.
Yeah, so I think there's a few things that we need to analyze. The first one is what processes or what steps make someone to be a potential voter that needs to be contested for. So the politicians will be contesting for that person to cast their vote for their party or for their candidates. You know, in Zimbabwe, you have to first of all reach the legal age of majority, and then you have to be a registered voter. So ultimately, the contestation is about how many registered voters can a political party convince or commandeer to vote for them. So right from the start, we have a limiting factor there as to, you know, how many of those people that attend rallies are actually registered voters. So that's why we always talk about things like voter turnout. You know, we're comparing the number of votes that have been casted to the potential number of votes that would have been casted if everyone that is eligible to vote has voted. So when you think of it that way, then you have to accept that logically a rally would contribute to the votes that a party can get by the simple fact that it activates the party's base. So the reason why you have people that are registered to vote and then they don't go and vote, there are so many reasons. So some people may be indisposed, they are out of the country, they are not well, and all that. But one of the main factors is that people are not motivated. So they are a registered voter, but they've not been motivated to go and actually cast a vote. So therein enters the role of political rallies in activating the base. So it doesn't matter whether people are buzzed from different areas or whatever. What it serves for that particular constituency, and even for other constituencies from where these people have been buzzed from, is to activate them, is to give them that zeal to actually, on the day of voting, get off their chairs and walk to the polling station and actually vote, because that is the critical step that is going to determine whether you're going to win or not. I suppose the reason why we're having this debate is because there's a secondary benefit or secondary characteristic that we need to assign to, attendance of rallies. And this is the issue of optics. And this is the space of contestation between the main political parties about trying to prove how popular their candidate is. So the optics here seem to take, prime significance. But in actual fact, the primary value of a rally is to activate the base. So I guess we are debating this because there seems to be a silent or rather very vocal contest about the optics. So ZANU-PF releases its optics from its drones, CCC releases its optics as well, and for some reason this is meant to paint a picture of the popularity of the candidate. But people shouldn't lose sight of the fact that if you don't activate your base, no matter how many people are sympathetic to your political movement, if people don't actually get off their seats and go to the polling station and vote, then you're unlikely to win an election. And the rally is a very, very efficient way of activating votes, activating the base, getting people enthusiastic about actually.
We seem to have lost Osega Unati there, but I see he has muted his mic, so I guess he has finished his presentation. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning, Tiboza. Quite an interesting observation, the observations that you have put through.
Well, let's go to another speaker there this morning. Guys, if you're just joining us talking about do rally numbers equate to votes, please do request the mic this morning. Want to hear from. Let's go to Padare. Padare, good morning, sir. How are you this morning?
I'm very fine. I'm surprised. I was lucky this time around. How are you guys? But what we know is ZANU-PF has 4 million voted, 4 million registered on its database. And what we know is the numbers were on the ground and doing everything. What we also know from the international space where we are is people are flying back to Zimbabwe, going back to vote for ZANU-PF. So the rallies are not just what you guys saw, and it's a question of what are we going to see on that day of the 23rd, and ZANU-PF has shown you what it can do, what it can gather. The mighty power of ZANU-PF has never been this strong. Last time it was okay, but this time round we saw the numbers, and you know what? People are so condescending, aren't they? That people are going to the rallies because of food, they're hungry and all this. You can lie as much as you want. Nobody else can come and say as much as you want. But the fact of the matter is, when people decide to do what they want, they go and do what they want. People are enjoying it. It's a morale booster. It's a party. It's a celebration. Like what Zeti was saying, this is coming together. This is a show of power, and a show of look, we've got this in the bag, and that's what happened. So any other thing, people can come and try to spin whichever way they want to spin. Listen, in 2018 election, 2016, before President Mnangagwa came to play, there is no one who could articulate like the two individuals that were running for the elections, Noah Manyika and Kosanamoy. There is nobody who could articulate like them, and that's a fact. But they did not have the numbers. They did not have this show of power, the door to door, the door to door thing. It works in certain areas, but in Africa, where we are, even in America, they do these mass big rallies. They do big rallies, even bigger rallies than what you are seeing. Because the door to door, yes, it's what you do every day. But the door to door, you have to be saying, okay, we've done it door to door. What is it that now we can show people after the door to door? So if you've done your door to door, you have to have those rallies to prove that your door to door has worked. So the intelligence of people coming up and saying, "Oh, because people are hungry," it's looking down upon people. It's actually condescending. Actually, so it's actually condescending to those that have traveled and are willing to be part and parcel of history. So people are being part of it. If you're a party, look, ZANU PF came out and they said it was going to look for 144 million. What do you think 144 million is for? It's to feed these people. ZANU PF people pay money, they pay their subscriptions. What do you think the subscriptions are for? It's to hire those buses. ZANU PF is actually empowering people in the last few years just by those rallies. A lot of people, business has been going on and so forth. So people don't take the science behind this. That chicken you are talking about has been bought from a shop. Can you imagine supplying all those people with food, the transport, the fuel? So people don't understand the science to this. You can't underestimate it just because your party is not doing well or you're fearing what you're seeing. You can't spin it. We always say you have to accept the strength of your enemy in order to prepare so that you can beat them. In this level, there's still a lot of false narrative from the opposition, and they know what's coming. 2010 is around the corner. If you've not done your homework, it's a done deal. Many thanks.
Well, thank you so much, Padre, for highlighting that. Yeah, speaking in your mind there, speaking your contributions around the issue of to rally voters, the rally numbers equate to voters. Quite interesting there, guys. Mike, this morning to try to wrap up our conversation this morning. I see you've been joined by Prof. Is it Prof. Professor Moyo? Please do go ahead to the contribution as well, sir. We seem to have lost Professor there. Yeah.
Quite interesting views, Brighton, and quite interesting what our guests have been talking about. Some are saying, you know what, these rallies do matter. That is why all these political parties still do these rallies, to bring that oomph and vibe and push for more supporters to come in, for people to actually go out there and vote for them.
But also, my worry has been on the issue of voter education, or the issue of tokenism. To say people have been given tokens, right? Go register what I'm going to give you this and that, right? Again, in these rallies, people are given tokens, right? But on the day of the polls, no one's going to give you a token. But will you see the large numbers going out there to cast their vote? Yes or no? It's quite interesting. They're going to wait and see that 12 days to go before the polls. Let's go to Native Son of Kula. Good morning, sir. How are you this morning?
Mfokanxube awu ngiyaphila ndoda yakithi ngithemba la right sesinonhlanhla awu siyabonga livuka njani abanye what I would say it's a 50-50 situation, Brighton, and looking at it I would say yes, at some point rally numbers do equate to voters, but on what basis? Supposedly it's organic numbers that are coming through, because there's quite a difference to organic and numbers that are there when they are forced. You cannot say the rally numbers will equate to voters when you have forced people into your rally. They are more likely to turn around in the ballot box and say, yeah, yazi lo muntu vele nje uyasihlukumeza nje nokuthi siye kumarali akhe, and they vote otherwise. So if it's organic, if it is organic, yes, rallies, they do turn out to voters. Then I'll put it in an urban situation, Brighton, to say, in urban situation, that's where the 50 other party comes in. in an urban environment, you can fill the stadium and people can come and watch you. And trust me, they can go and vote otherwise. The reason being is that the mind of the urban electorate is quite different from that of a rural electorate. The rural electorate never really focuses on many of the things that you have. They don't, follow your what I would say, your timeline to say, okay, you have done this, we have done that, we have done that. The urban one is very much careful and very, even if they come to your rally, they're still gonna watch you talk and they can wear your regalia and so forth. But when it comes to voting at some point, they might turn out otherwise. So it's a 50-50 situation. I'll take it to say, for example, during the times of Uba Umqabo, the voters that the people that you would see on his rallies of ZAP, those were organic supporters. You knew that those people came there because they wanted to be there. And those were people that we could say, yeah, those ones will turn out to numbers. But over the time, times have changed, and with the technology now, some people are not able to attend rallies. Some people are working and so forth. So in that situation, I would say that's where the 50-50 comes in, the urban side, meaning to say even some will not even attend, but they will vote for you. Some might attend, but they might not vote for you. So it's a really tricky situation, also considering how the people came to your rally as well. And where do they come from? Because you can't tell me that someone who moved from Marondera to Lupane, and you say that, well, you have the numbers and the people of Lupane are voting for you. That person you brought from Marondera. The Lupane, we want to see the people of Lupane, not the people of Marondera. We want to see if you got numbers in Lupane. So that's in that part, I would say not really the numbers will turn out. Just the voters that you have there are not people who are going to vote in that place. So it goes to parliamentary elections again to say, you filled up all these people. Are your MPs going to get these such big numbers? Or you fill them up for you as the presidential candidate as well? Because you can't tell me that an MP of Lupane will count on voters of Marondera. That doesn't work. So in that situation, for it's a 50-50 situation. Thank you so much. Good morning. It's the native son of Bulawayo, Nyabo.
Well, thank you so much, native son of Bulawayo. Quite interesting views, and even on the comment section there, I'm seeing some comments that have come through. Someone says rally numbers do not equate to votes. Even numbers of registered voters do not determine the number of votes made. It's time for accountability in the counting systems. Easier implemented through visible counting, easily enforced at what level? And then someone says there are a number of reasons why rally numbers may not translate to votes. First, not everyone who attends a rally is eligible to vote. For example, children and non-citizens are not allowed to vote in Zimbabwe. Quite interesting. And then someone says someone go to these rallies to see helicopters. Rallies has a lot of impact. That's why ZANU-PF is depriving opposition parties. It knows rallies can easily destroy them because information is conveyed very well than in any other. Well, quite interesting, hey?
Yeah, quite interesting conversation to have, guys, this morning. We're talking about rallies and numbers equate to voters. Yeah, I've been talking about that. And also, Philip earlier on spoke about, to say, people are hungry in Zimbabwe. People are going to these rallies for food, for t-shirts. So you cannot say these rally numbers can equate to voters. And so we came out different opinions, a quite interesting opinion that came out from this discussion this morning. Anyway, as our time is up, we're going to the long weekend, guys. Yeah, it's time is up, not 9:30 now. It's time to wrap up the show. And before we go to let's take Delta there. I see Delta just requested the mic. He said, Dr. Milayondo just requested the mic. Let's just give you a mic and hear from me what she has to say around the topic this morning.
Yeah, while we wait for her to join us, quite an interesting conversation we've had today. And I'm also seeing another comment. Someone says it's scientifically impossible to argue that rally attendance equates to votes.
Yeah, quite interesting there. I'm just seeing some main requests. I'm just maybe 1 or 2 people so that we can continue the conversation in the meantime as we try to wait for Dr. Milayondo to connect there as well. Give us a few contribution around the topic this morning. Do rally numbers equate to voters? Yeah, quite interesting comments coming through. Any more comments coming through?
Okay, someone says rallies numbers matter. And then someone says
Let's go to another speaker there this morning.
okay.
I see a rich uncle. Good morning, sir. How are you this morning?
bafowethu liyaphila bona. Yes, Sarbon.
Yeah, please do go ahead.
Yeah. No, I think this topic elikhuluma ngayo is very interesting, guys, because answer yam to your question, I think it's 50-50 le ndaba, because sometimes you find ukuthi most of the people abalapha kuma rallies are not people abazovotela leyo part ababehambe kuyo, and lento uzoyiprova ngokuthi, for example, masithi khona eZimbabwe right now abantu abazovota bazovota best to their constituencies, then wena you go to a rally because you want to be seen popular, uyethatha umuntu osuka maybe Chipinge to a rally in Plumtree, which is plus minus 400 kilometers, ukuthi uyobonakala ingane unabantu abaningi. So that does not make sense. And enye into engizoyisho futhi ukuthi khona sometimes kuyasiza ukuthi wenze ama-rally. That is why iZANU-PF uyithola ukuthi iyabavalela ama-opposition parties ukuthi bayenze ama-rallies kahle bakhululekile, babe kuma national TVs bakhululekile, because they know very well ukuthi that person uzokhuluma information eyiyo eqondile that people will hear, bathathe ama-decision. Right now we have a situation whereby Nelson Chamisa in a certain rally spoke about indaba ye-land regarding abantu abakhutshwa ku-land yabo basiwa somewhere. ZANU-PF went and take that audio and change that audio and say Chamisa said he will reverse the land reform. So if that space kuyingaba kuyikuthi uChamisa was given a national television time to say lento ayiyo ayikhulumayo, do you think ubezoconvince abantu abaningi kangakanani? Yabona ubezoconvince abantu abaningi kakhulu. So iconsider lento it's 50-50. It's either iyosebenza or either ingasebenzi, because there are other people whereby stubborn vele. Even if you tell them the truth, they still don't believe on you. Even if you can tell them this, still bangakholelwa. So ngiyacabanga ukuthi this thing is 50-50. Yokuthi inumber iyasebenza, but then leyo ukuthi yakithi ezimu lapha inzima, because you can't be popular because uthatha abantu 300 to 400 kilometers away ukuthi bazokubonisa ingane une-support eningi. And that issue ibisiyukuthi mase kuvotwa kuzothiwa uvote nge-constituency yakho.
Up the space this morning. I'm talking about Durali numbers equate to votes. I've seen we've been joined by Delta Milayondo. Delta, please do go ahead to the contribution as well.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I'll try to be brief because a lot of the points I would have raised have already been mentioned. attending rallies, a lot of factors come into play. One of them being convenience, for example. Is it convenient for me to go if I'm at work, but I know I support this party, I've made up my mind, I'm voting for them. Even if I don't show up, I'll know I'll go and vote no matter what. So convenience plays a part. You might find that a lot of the people who are able to go, hopping from one rally to another, are people who have nothing else that they are doing at that particular time. It's convenient. Another aspect around convenience is whether your party has got the resources, because rallies are part of events management, and that means you have the resources. You can mobilize resources, buses, or whatever, transport and meals for your party members. And you wouldn't begrudge any party for having the resources to say, oh, okay, we are going to make sure our members have got transport to arrive safely. We're going to make sure our members are fed. But also, as far as optics goes, what it then means is that those parties that don't have the resources or the similar, level of access to resources, when they are able to marshal crowds, it says something also about their popularity. It says people are willing to forego meals, willing to forego transport, willing to forego convenience, and go at their own expense and show up for that rally. So the optics argument really, it can be countered in either way, depending on which side you're looking at. So if you're somebody who's looking at it and thinking, oh, that party doesn't have resources, their offices were taken, their name was taken, this was taken, but look at the crowds that still show up. From that perspective, you then say it's because those people genuinely, or someone was saying organic. They'll say, oh, that's organic support, because these people have nothing to gain, and a lot more to lose than those who are being pampered with meals, pampered with transport, pampered with God knows what else. So my point though is, politics is a lot about narratives. You can spin any narrative about any issue. And on the issue of rally numbers, that's like debating whether the number of people that show up to a crossover crusade Does that mean they're going to heaven? Numbers, numbers can say one thing about a given moment in time, but it doesn't tell us about the motivations each individual has for showing up. So the motivations could range from anything. Some of them really love the party, and they're activists in their party and they're showing up for the party. Others are coming out of personal grievance. They're tired of the conditions of their lives and they think this party will change things. Others come because there's an incentive, there's a meal, there's a t-shirt, there's something. Others come because it's convenient. I didn't have anything better I was doing. My friend is going, transport is offered. I've never been to Nkai. I've lived my whole life in Binga. Why not go for a joyride? There are any number of factors, but I don't personally